Seneca is writing this letter to his friend Lucilius, and they're talking about Stoicism, this idea that, you try to get better every day, hold yourself to these high standards. How do I know that I'm doing it right, that I'm getting better? And he says, each day I become a better friend to myself. That's how I know I'm making progress.
But what if that's the great lie of life? And what if the truth is that you're one relationship away, one meeting away, one conversation, one podcast, one interview, one new thought, one new emotion, one new tactic or strategy away from completely changing the trajectory of your life?
You have to look at suffering as almost like I look at failure. To succeed, you must fail. In failure and in suffering, all the answers are in there.
If you focus on the past and you focus on the lost time and you focus on the regrets, you're wasting time and energy on things that don't help you and don't move you forward.
Don't become confident by shouting affirmations in the mirror, but by having a stack of undeniable proof that you are who you say you are.
But to push as hard as you can, you have to be mindful of the machine that's pushing. It is going to end up dying. And then it takes years to get it back, so you lose that time. That time is gone.
But it's interesting how many miss the opportunity of chasing forward-looking asymmetrical opportunities with limited risk, but potential huge upsides and a relative solid likelihood of success.
On the other side of that extreme place that I call suffering, call whatever you want, there's a whole nother world that people have not even examined. But you have to go to that extreme place to examine it. We want to stay here in this comfortable place. Once you're going to push yourself to that extreme place, it's like a whole other universe, because this world we live in is tough. It will beat you down. The world and the life that we live in is the ultimate competitor. It will try to take you out. It will find your weakness and it will just hammer you.
Well, unchosen suffering is going to happen, right? So the only thing that you can do is have some chosen suffering to prepare for it.
I don't care how I feel.
Yeah.
I don't care if I feel happy or sad. It doesn't really affect what I do each day. I do the exact same things. I act the exact same way. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't put weight to the significance of the emotion. So I always consider myself a happy person, but if I woke up and I was slightly less happy one day than another, it wouldn't affect anything I do and I wouldn't put any relevance to it. I'm human, and that's life.
The reason I get up every day, even though there's no race or there's no school or there's nothing in front of me, is because I have pride in myself. Because I know every motherfucker ain't gonna do what I'm gonna do. Most people don't want to find that extra because it sucks. It's miserable. You talk about that you were kind of, lonely by yourself. That's the only place to be.
So you have to be disciplined about your discipline. You have to curb that impulse to do, in some ways, the easier thing now, which is like, I want to go all out. I want to push everything into the center of the table. I want to go now.
And a lot of times you have to learn to perform without motivation. You have to learn to perform without purpose. And that's what people think. They think I need to have this motivation to work out, to study, to be better. So if they don't have it, they just don't fucking do it. And that's where you fail. You have to learn to train your mind well beyond motivation. If you have motivation, that's great. That's some kindling to the fire. All it takes is a little bit of fucking spark, you can burn a whole forest up. But motivation, you have to learn to exist without it.
Says, freedom is better defined as the opportunity for self-discipline. And so, we think of discipline as this thing you need to achieve a kind of success, right? And you do. You have to be disciplined on the way up. But also, people make you disciplined on the way up because you have fewer options. There is no other way, right? You have to be disciplined about your money because you don't have any, right? You have to be disciplined about your work ethic, etc., because you're in this competition with all these people. It's sort of a forcing function. But then you get there, you get to the top, and now the rules that previously bound you or the things you needed to prove, that's not there. And so if you're not self-driven, if you're not, enforcing that discipline on yourself, it all falls apart. right? And if you don't know what's important to you, what kind of work you want to do, what you want your life to look like, you end up defaulting to one of two things: what pays most, or what are other people doing? You can end up very far from what you actually want, and you'll only know that when you get there. So you have to have a very clear sense of like where you're trying to go, or these things, these opportunities are chances to get super off track. Everyone's clapping you on the back, telling you it's a great idea, right up until you overreach and lose all of it. And then they go, you're like, what were you thinking? How could you do it?